Episode 7, Doomed to Die, perhaps like this series, is upon us, and its focus is near entirely on the events surrounding the siege of Eregion. It picks up from the previous episode with the siege continuing. During this time, Celebrimbor has made massive progress and seemingly has the 9 remaining rings done. He just needs to add in the jewels. Meanwhile, the battle outside continues, with the elves allegedly doing nothing, waiting for Sauron to talk to Celebrimbor to see what they should do. What have they been doing when they first got attacked at night? Uncertain. As the sky begins to darken again and cloud over, the orcs move to phase 2 of their siege, damming the river by using their trebuchet on the nearby mountain, causing bits of rock to block the river. The orcs then proceed to move across it. At this point, Elrond and Gil-galad, the High King of the Elves, arrive on horseback, assumably at the flank of the orc army. It's never quite specified. They charge and the orcs just sort of stand in a line and goad them. No spears raised, nobody bracing themselves. And then, just before they get trampled into a fine tomato sauce, they reveal a cage with Galadriel in it, causing the entire elven army to stop a few meters away from the orcs, at which point Adar and Elrond have a treaty with one another. It's a ballsy plan, and a good thing it worked, or else Adar and his squad of orcs covering that flank would certainly be dead. The same applies to Elrond deciding to stop the cavalry charge. Speed is the whole point of cavalry. They literally stop still, meaning the orcs could and should have attacked them immediately and taken the ring from Elrond themselves. Instead, we get Adar chatting to Elrond, not Gil-galad, who was there a moment ago but now disappears, saying that they'll trade Galadriel for a ring of power, which they'll use to kill Sauron. Elrond disagrees, and with a literal kiss on the lips, secretly slips Galadriel a lockpick for her handcuffs. Adar and him then go on and say they'll see each other on the battlefield. It's done. These same orc forces have murdered helpless Southlanders in their villages when they built their water system in Season 1 to set off the volcano. They're laying siege to a city full of elves, most of whom are not soldiers. Why so honourable now? For now, they just all walk away from each other, and those hundreds of elven horsemen just allowed to trot off and, I guess, get another runner. It doesn't really clarify how they get the distance between the two forces, they're just sort of doing it, and it makes no tactical sense on either force's part. Back in the city, Celebrimbor is getting closer to finishing the rings, but starts to notice glitches with Sauron's illusions, which gets him questioning everything. The two of them finally have it out with Sauron revealing himself, and Celebrimbor runs off to tell his elves to arrest him. They ignore him, believing Sauron over Celebrimbor, which is sealed further by Sauron using his magic to make it look like Celebrimbor pushed a fellow elf off the city walls down into the orcs below, who have now crossed the dried up river and are trying to scale the walls. Sauron, in front of the guards, tells Celebrimbor to finish making the rings and he'll spare the city. I don't know how the others don't hear this, because he doesn't exactly whisper it, but everyone, including Celebrimbor, just sort of go along with it and say, yeah, alright, make the rings then. Why would he think that Sauron would stick to his word? He knows who he is. He knows he's evil. I guess just stupidity strikes again. Meanwhile, Elrond goes off to speak to Durin to ask for help in the fight, who says he will help, though he inevitably doesn't, because King Durin goes ahead and starts killing people, so they need an entire dwarven army to stop the king. And Galadriel escapes captivity with the help of Arondir, and they go off to Eregion to help defend it. By now, the orcs are using something called a Ravager to pull down the wall of Eregion, whilst Elrond and his crew finally attack Adar's forces from behind, to the side, it's unclear, but they start where the trebuchets are and slowly make their way up to the wall themselves, right up to the Ravager, and stop it. Going back to Celebrimbor, he's pretty much done with the 9 rings of power now, but after a little chit-chat with Sauron, he decides actually, nah, I'm not going to do this anymore, I'm going to change my mind again. And he tries to destroy them, fails, and instead breaks free and bumps into Galadriel, and then hands them to her, saying, look, you need to get rid of these, just take them away from him, I'll deal with Sauron, come on guards. It turns out that Sauron can mind control and he makes all the guards kill themselves. Outside, however, the fight continues with a troll that came along to try to take down the wall, and he just gets taken out with little consequence. And as a final push, Adar personally leads the assault, leading to him stabbing Arondir twice and taking the Ring of Power from Elrond after besting him, and the wall is finally breached. And that's where it ends. It's very hard to keep up with as people are teleporting all over the place, time seems to conflict one another. The orcs are talking about day and night, whereas Celebrimbor is saying about having several days to make the rings. It doesn't make any real sense. That's what kept getting in the way of me enjoying it. I don't know if this is an editing challenge or that the team behind this are so close to it, they forget to share details on screen so the viewer can make as much sense of it as they do. But whatever the tale it is that they're trying to tell, be it the scale of the battle, the alliances, strategies used, all of that aside, it just felt hamstrung by their inability to convey what was happening clearly to the viewer. With it finishing on a cliffhanger, I assume for the final episode we'll get the conclusion of Eregion, and I'd guess the death of Adar. But for now, take care.